let's talk BYU basketball for just a moment. The Cougars are going to take the court tonight for the first real on-court action with Trevin Young. The Marriott Madness event they had the other night, I get that it had a lot of hoopla going on, a dunk contest, a three-point contest. All that stuff was going on. But the bigger thing I'm looking forward to tonight is actually seeing rotations from BYU playing basketball. Are they going to be going 100%? No, absolutely not. And in fact, I think the coaches are going to tell them, guys, don't injure each other out there. Don't derail what could be a promising season in the exhibition game, the blue and white game, an intra-squad scrimmage. Don't hurt each other out there. But I think there's a big opportunity for BYU basketball to leave a favorable impression in Cougar fans' minds and eyes and hearts, whatever adjective you want to use there, because this is the first real opportunity to see what Trevin Young plans to do with this lineup. It's an uber-talented lineup if you believe the recruiting experts, what the coaching staff's been saying. But we need to get a real good look at what Egor, Demin, Kanon Catchings, Elijah Crawford, Brody Kozlowski, a lot of the young players in this program, Mihailo Boskovic. He's a 22-year-old, we don't know what he is, freshman, sophomore, whatever he is eligibility-wise, but this is his first time playing college basketball stateside. We need to get a real good look at those guys and also how they interact and work along with the veterans. You've got Trevin, Knell, Foussenyi, Traore back. You've got also a guy like Keba Keita who's played a lot of basketball, but he's a transfer into this program. How does this all work? How do all the pieces come together? That's my chief thing to watch for tonight. What does it look like on the court with these guys going in these lineups together? I'm sure there'll be a jumble of the lineups. There'll be a team that's wearing white and a team that's wearing blue, and the rotation might be a little bit off from what Trevin Young ultimately expects it to be come exhibition season and then finally the regular season. But I look at this as a big opportunity to finally get a real good look at what the talent base for this BYU basketball team is. I want to see what Egor Demin is capable of doing. We've seen some of the national media tweeting, I think it was John Rothstein who may have put it out there, that there is a belief that Egor Demin's his passing ability is going to make Trevin Knell's three-point accuracy and ability even more deadly than it already is. Great. I'm all for that, because if the shot doctor, as many called Trevin Knell in his first few seasons on campus, can go to another level, that's only going to help BYU be that much more dangerous in the conference. What can the younger players on this roster do? Can they become the lead dogs? Can they essentially tell guys like Foussenyi, Traore, can they tell Trevin Knell, can they tell Dallin Hall, hey, you had your time in Provo. It's our time. To use the Captain Phillips phrase, I'm the captain now. I'm not necessarily expecting that because, trust me, Dallin Hall, he's got an it factor to him. I absolutely love what Foussenyi Traore brings, and I think he's going to be an absolute menace in this new offense with Trevin Young. Trevin is not adverse to using small ball lineups. We all know that Foussenyi Traore, standing 6'6", he is best in a small ball lineup, but more importantly, he's best when he's able to play with a lot of guys on the perimeter to open up space on the interior, because when Foos is one-on-one with a lot of big men, he's going to make him look silly. He's got an incredible ability to get positioned down low and score. So there is a lot to look for in this lineup and the matchup tonight between these two scrimmage squads. I want to see how competitive these guys get as well. Like I said, I'm sure the coaches are going to remind them, guys, these are your teammates. This is not an opposing team. You guys have been practicing together. You've been eating meals together. You spend all this time together. Let's not screw all that up and have things kind of get infiltrating into the program here that could tear us apart. But let's go out there and have a competitive game. I can remember, this goes back, man, I want to say it might have been 3 or 4 years ago. It might have been the early tenure of Mark Pope's run. And I can remember Alex Barcelo slapping the floor in the blue and white game because he didn't get a call from the officials. That told me everything I needed to know about Alex Barcelo and his competitive nature. And we all know that AB ended up becoming an incredible player for the BYU basketball program. But I want to see the competitive nature of this squad. Do they take this as seriously as they do a regular season game? That remains to be determined. But this is, once again, our first look at them. And I think it's a big opportunity to really get a feel for what you can expect competitive-wise, mindset-wise, just overall what the BYU basketball program, how they're going to come out and play hoops. Will they have an edge to them? Will they be more of a loosey-goosey type feel where they're just out there balling and having a good time? That's all remains to be seen. The other thing about this is, if you're planning on watching this, it's not going to happen. They have not announced, or they actually did announce, they're not having this game televised, which is a bit of a surprise to me. I'll be frank. I thought that this would be an easy ESPN Plus property, BYU's Blue and White game, get Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler down there to call the game, Spencer Linton on the sidelines, and have some in-game interviews and the like to liven it up for Cougar fans. So, if you are planning on seeing the Blue and White scrimmage, you're going to need to be at the Marriott Center. You can listen to it on the radio. Greg Wrubell and Mark Durant, the longtime tandem on the radio for BYU Radio, will have the radio call of it, so that's the way to consume it if you happen to be out of market. But it's kind of disappointing that BYU's not televising this. I was hoping it was going to be televised because I've got some other pressing duties that I'm going to have to watch it, or I now listen to it remotely and track this. But if you want to get out to it, it might be also your only opportunity as a Cougar fan to get out to to the Marriott Center this fall and not have not have a seat. That makes sense? Yeah. So if you want to get out and watch this Cougar team, it's going to be a hot ticket all winter long, because we've already heard that tickets have already sold out for BYU basketball, and it's going to be an incredibly raucous environment. So if you want your first real feel for BYU basketball, well, you're going to actually have to travel down to the Marriott Center to take part in it. It's a 7 o'clock tip tonight. Looking forward to it. I would imagine it probably goes hour-ish. I don't know how long they'll run it for. But there are 8 letter winners from last year's squad returning. And once again, they're bringing in guys like Egor Demin, Brody Kozlowski, Kanon Catchings, Elijah Crawford, Mihailo Boskovic. They have got so many guys that I look forward to learning more about and looking just how they look together when they take the court. That is a very, very, I think, underrated thing about how I think Kevin Young is going to blend this lineup. He is a guy that is spoken about glowingly by guys that he coached up in the NBA because they believe that he's very fair, he's very straightforward, he doesn't give you any you-know-what BS when it comes to what he thinks and what he's trying to pass along to you guys. And I think that no-nonsense nature, it's going to rub off on this team. And I think it's a great opportunity to see how this goes. Funny enough, if you don't watch the Cougars, get out to watch the Cougars tonight or listen to it, the next time BYU takes the court, October 30th. Yeah, there's like 3 weeks between this. They will host Colorado Christian in an exhibition game. That's scheduled for 7 o'clock. That one is, I believe, scheduled to be televised on ESPN Plus. Oh, I did screw up on that. The time is 6 o'clock tonight. So admission is free. Doors open at 6 o'clock. So there you go. So get out. I'm screwing this up. Tip is scheduled for 7 o'clock. Doors at 6. You get the drift. All right, so looking forward to it. It should be a really, really fun time. And once again, if you don't have tickets to BYU basketball this winter, well, this may be an opportunity to get out and take your kids to it and get you a real good feel for what to expect from BYU basketball this winter. Because if everything that we have been led to believe about this BYU team is legitimate, it could be a very, very fun year in Provo. And I, for one, cannot wait to track all of it and obviously have many, many more conversations about BYU basketball over ensuing podcasts over the next few months, if not year plus. It feels like everything is coming up aces for BYU basketball if you believe all the hype out there on the recruiting front, what BYU's put together roster-wise, and tonight is our first real good look at truly what to expect when they're on the court together.